Hello and welcome to the Tennessee Informer. I'm your host, Dave Vance. We have two guests tonight, both here on behalf of the Tennessee Chapter of Children's Health Defense. We have Bernadette Pager, who is also the State Director of Stand for Health Freedom, and Amy Miller with Reform Pharma, a Children's Health Defense initiative. But first, if you have an announcement from a conservative organization that you'd like to have broadcast on this show, please send the information to tninformer.tv@gmail.com the Friday before the show. The Stewart County GOP will meet this Thursday, April 25th, 6:30 p.m. at the Stewart County Visitor Center. Our speaker will be candidate for State Senate in the 24th District, Charles Cooper. Now to our guest. Bernadette Pager is a longtime advocate for informed consent, medical freedom, and scientific integrity in public policy. She's pro-health, pro-ethical science, pro-terrain theory, pro-early treatment, pro-natural immunity. She volunteers for several nonprofits, including Children's Health Defense, and she's the Tennessee Director of Stand for Health Freedom. Amy Miller is the Director of Marketing for Reform Pharma, an initiative of Children's Health Defense. The mission of Reform Pharma is to remove big pharma corruption and restore healthcare integrity. Amy is a longtime advocate for medical freedom and is passionate about creating change through legislation. Her legislative work in Tennessee was instrumental in stopping vaccination of minors without parental consent. Amy is a former advertising business owner and co-founder of Tennessee Coalition for Vaccine Choice. Her group is reformpharmanow.org. Thank you both for being with us tonight. Bernadette, let's start with you and tell us a little bit about the Tennessee Children's Health Defense.
Oh my goodness, we're so excited about this chapter. For those of you new to Children's Health Defense, it's a national organization. Well, actually, no, it's international. There are chapters throughout the world. Amy might remember better off the top of her head some of the locations where these chapters are. But the mission of Children's Health Defense really is to find those things that are harming Children's Health Defense, go after the perpetrators, who are causing the harm, and, really seek justice and make changes. So at the state level, what our state chapter does is look for those issues at the state level and then do our best to educate the public so that the public can take action and make better choices. Because really the best way to make change is with your dollars, because most of the harm being done to us is being done because people are sending money their way, whatever that is. So better choices comes through better education, and that's what we aim to do.
Can you give me some examples in Tennessee on that?
Some examples right in Tennessee. I'm going to ask Amy to hop in here, and because I'm trying to think, are you asking if the examples are
for some of the issues? Yeah, some of the issues in Tennessee that you've been involved with in terms of children's health.
We've been educating on various treatment options that are available to parents out there we don't give medical advice, but we educate on the myriad of options that are available out there, educate on vaccination rights, the availability of exemptions, and the specific laws in Tennessee regarding vaccination. The fact that we have natural immunity is recognized in Tennessee code for COVID-19. Educate on 5G. A lot of neighborhoods are seeing 5G move into their neighborhoods and close to their schools, so educating on that. And there are different pockets in the state where individuals are taking action to try to stop 5G that's getting too close to children. That's all I can think of at the top of my head. Amy, help me.
Well, one of the things that I think is really important is the people who get involved, the boots on the ground in Tennessee. One of the particular missions that we have is connecting people in their own backyard who has resources that they might not know that are close to them, for whether it be organic food or different products around them and that surround them or that are in the state that they can get a hold of. But I think making those better choices and also being able to connect with these people, it just creates more community as well. So more education, more connections, more community. And that's one of our goals at the state level.
Okay.
And Kevin, I'd like to add there. So Amy and I work really well together as writers and editors for each other. And she's right on with the word community. That is a massive part of what Children's Health Defense does. It helps create community, helps people find each other in their communities so they can take action together, learn from each other. And we've done tabling events across the state, and usually at places where you've got regenerative farmers, and it's helping make those connections for people. So once people don't feel so alone when you join up and become active with Children's Health Defense, you meet your tribe, as it were, people who are concerned about the same things you are, and changing their lifestyle in the same ways you are. And that sense of community is priceless.
So other than, well, in addition to connecting people, what are some of the things that some accomplishments in regard to your mission that you'd like for the audience to know about?
From the chapter standpoint, the annual fundraiser is a big accomplishment that happened last year. And that was, again, getting the boots on the ground and getting started with connecting people and showing them different, I'm trying to think of all the speakers that we had last year. Bernadette, can you speak to that one? We had doctors and we had just regular community members that offer things, but we also do legislative stuff from the Reform Pharma. I'm going to cross over to my main position at Reform Pharma. We also educate people in the legislature, and we also fight for the parental rights, and we also fight for the vaccine exemptions. We also fight against vaccine mandates. And that's something that we've tried to do. We've educated a lot. We've seen a lot of people get involved and speak out. And that's one of the things that we noticed this year. The change in, I think the medical freedom movement is really making a roar, and knowing, especially with it being election season, they're really noticing how our voice matters. And that's one of the things that we want, because we want to be able to be parents to our own children. We want to make sure that nobody's mandating anything, medical products that cause harm. And we also want to make sure that there's true information going out. And, we're censored and accused of misinformation all the time, but we come with science and data. So from the Children's Health Defense national level and Reform Pharma, we have our own science team, we have our own legal team, and we really provide the evidence that is needed to educate. And then that trickles down to the state chapter where, you get together with new mothers, you get together with just people who, are kind of on this path, but they don't have their tribe yet. So those are some successes I think that we've tried to do, and we've noticed this year. One of the big ones is how many voices are coming together and really making a difference.
So do you have some allies in the legislature now?
We do have some. I think COVID really woke people up. People were the people who got the shot and who had side effects. They're now speaking out about that. They're not okay with it. They see the coercion, they see the manipulation, they see the mandates, and they're not okay with that. So that helps. That did not, I don't want to say it didn't hurt, but because it hurt people, it hurt a lot of people. And actually at Reform Pharma, we have a term for that. It's called pharmacide. And it's death and injury by big pharma corruption. And enough pharmacide, enough. We are tired of it. And we know that our healthcare systems, they're captured, controlled, and bought off. So I think they're starting to realize the lobby arm of pharma is definitely getting a pushback and being exposed even further. And I think more people are coming our way. Yeah. So once again, the voice is getting stronger. And I encourage anyone who's listening or watching, stand firm and be strong and speak out. It's really important that we speak out right now.
Yeah. I think with Big Pharma, everybody should be somewhat awake by now. And, Big Pharma is kind of like the Chamber of Commerce. Obviously, they're part of it, and they have a lot of influence in the legislature. So it's going to take a lot of people to push back against them.
Yeah,
Yes.
and if I could add that, two things. We cannot underestimate, we should not underestimate, we can't overestimate the value of education. It's something difficult. You say the word education, it sounds bland. What have you accomplished? We've educated people. You have to understand how powerful that is. An individual going to the store and choosing this natural product as opposed to this glyphosate-ridden product, the ripple effects of that, all the way to the market, to those the people who are trying to sell products. When their products aren't selling, they may divert. That individual family has improved health. That family, now educated, is paying attention to who they're voting for, and then they're paying attention to what laws are being passed. So, Children's Health Defense isn't here to save everybody. We're here to empower everybody to save themselves. Mm-hmm. That's what it's going to take, because if we all just begin to live the life we believe in, we create that life. We create the market demand for that life. It's just so very important. It's difficult to articulate and for people to grasp. It's not like something big and showy, although we do have something big and showy, right, Amy? We had visited 4 times the Children's Health Defense RV, visited Tennessee. Now, this RV traveled the United States gathering vaccine injury stories, hospital protocol injury and death stories, as well as the stories of families who do not choose to vaccinate at all. So real health stories. And all this data is being gathered, though. These stories were recorded, information taken. It was quite heartbreaking, but it was also very empowering and healing for the individuals who got to share the story and be heard and be believed about their experiences.
And they can access that? There's a website that people could access that from to hear it?
There's actually going to be a documentary made with these stories, and they're going to compile them. And what's interesting is how many of them there are, and how you can't ignore the stories. You can't ignore that there's this many of the same. It's repetitive. You might have, different details, but overall you have the same story over and over. And those are the people that continue to get ignored. And those are the people who just want to be heard. So the fact that all of these stories were collected all over, and Tennessee had 4 bus stops in January through February across the state. So there are a lot of Tennessee stories that were shared, and it's time to do something.
And those can be found right now on chd.tv. It's Children's Health Defense National, like a podcast TV platform, where you will find a whole lot of different shows that are weekly. But then there's also all of the interviews are up there for viewing, so you can see those. And I also encourage people to go to the Tennessee chapter website, tn.childrenshealthdefense.org, and look on our Tennessee news. Scroll down a bit, because up in Johnson City, there was a panel. Dr. Denise Sibley pulled together an amazing panel, I think 8 medical professionals across all fields who spoke. And it was amazing. That's recorded and that's available on our website to watch.
And you need that kind of...
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So you need those kind of people to be involved with this to counter all of the so-called experts from Big Pharma. So it helps to have people like Dr. Sibley do these kind of things to get the word out.
Absolutely.
It does. Being bold in the medical field is what is needed. And we've seen a lot of physicians and just healthcare professionals in general. We call it at Reform Pharma pivoting or U-turning and going the right way. It's time to make the right decision. You've accepted this was wrong. You've changed and you've turned around, and that is your voice to encourage the next physician or healthcare provider to do the same. And we're seeing it daily. It's happening. The times are turning, but we still have a ways to go. So if you're listening and you are a healthcare provider, please stand firm and speak out. The more that we speak out, the more there's that, tidal wave of change that's going to happen.
And it's an election year. So every county, the districts that rarely see their legislator, they're going to see him because it's an election year. So this is a good time to hit him up with those things, him or her. And that's something that, take that opportunity to hit him with it.
And dare I say, there might have been some bills this year that were put forth, and this is just my opinion, but that were put forth, and they were good freedom bills, but I'm wondering if some of that was to help the election along
Oh, I'm sure.
because they know what a voice, we have at this point.
But you'll take it either way you get it, right? Whether they do it for the right
Yeah.
reason or not, as long as they do it and as long as they are actually making an honest effort to get it passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd like for them to do it for the right intention, but if they do it, that's what counts.
That's the key. At Reform Pharma, we want honest healthcare. That's what our vision is, honest healthcare.
So what are some of the goals for 24 and 25?
Oh, that's a good one. We've got an upcoming on April 27th in Columbia, Tennessee, is our second annual fundraiser. And you can go to our website if you want to sign up. Tickets are limited, so I encourage everybody to sign up and get those last tickets that are available. But some of our goals include like putting together Jessica Bell, who's on the leadership of the chapter. She came up with this, and Patrice Steinhardt have this idea for mentoring moms, it's called. And they're putting this program together. So it will be a platform, a way for moms to get together and share wisdom with each other, kind of the old fashioned way we used to, where your great grandmother helped guide you, and the aunt and and the family pulling together that knowledge. And these gatherings will also have an opportunity for education, presentations, that sort of thing. And we're hoping that it's going to get started in Middle Tennessee, but we're hoping that there will be mentor mom groups eventually started throughout the state. That's going to take a little bit of funding to put together, to do it well. Another thing that we hope to do is raise money to do some testing. So test air, soil, water, and also maybe levels of EMF radiation in various places. So if we can help fund some of this testing to show where the harm is, then communities can take action to address that harm and have those changes happen. I know there was one other big thing I was going to say.
The third thing is actually spellers, and
Yes.
it's spelling to communicate, which is I guess it's a method to allow those with autism to communicate. And I'm not an autism mom, so I don't speak for them, but I am absolutely blown away by this program. What they use is it's a letter board, and they actually will spell out what their thoughts are. So they're actually able to communicate, and I'm probably butchering this. I apologize if I'm not explaining this correctly, but just from my outside looking in of what I've experienced with this, it is helping autism families so much. They are able to communicate their thoughts and have those, just all those thoughts from those years just pour out. And it's helping. What we want to do is raise funds to get somebody trained on spelling to communicate in the state of Tennessee, because right now you have to travel a pretty good distance, including California, Minnesota, and I think there's one on the East Coast. I'm not sure where. But if we have somebody in the state, we will be able to help families come and choose spelling to communicate. And eventually, hopefully, we'll have scholarships where those children can come, and it will offset the cost of it. But it's actually helping. And I can't remember, Bernadette, do you remember the phrase that is used in conventional methods? They really speak to the child like they're childish, and they don't have thoughts, and they do have thoughts. And I first experienced that. My friend's son went through it. He's actually in Spellers, and I saw it firsthand. I was blown away with how he was communicating and how he was able to express his thoughts. And he's brilliant. The kid was brilliant.
Yeah.
And being able to do that, it decreases the amount of, tantrums and things like that. But we want that resource in Tennessee, and we need to offset some of the costs. So we're fundraising for that.
Yeah, I want to add that there's a wonderful documentary film called Spellers that you can view. And then there's a wonderful book by J.B. Handley and his son, Jamie Handley, called Underestimated. And it's about Jamie's journey of speaking. And so I just want to say really briefly that, as Amy was saying, somebody who's got nonverbal autism, they're often treated as if they have the mental capacity of somebody who's 5 or 6. But what has been discovered is their brains are fully intelligent, and able to think and understand everything going around them. But something in the wiring is not allowing those thoughts to be verbalized, to be vocalized. And but they have the ability to use their large motor skills. And so they found if they're let their, like, through rocking and then pointing, they can point to letters and spell things out. And it is, I mean, when I read, like, Underestimated, I'm laughing and crying at the same time, because JB's boy was already in high school, but they were, he was being treated as if he was 6 years old. But they found out he had this intelligence within a year of him learning to communicate this way. And the letters got smaller and smaller, and he graduated finally to a keyboard. Within a year, he was like graduating high school. He was so, I know, right, shock. And then he's taking college classes. He might have even graduated college at this point, because it's been several years. And there's story after story like this, because these kids and young adults, they're trapped within their minds, unable to express themselves. But when you hear that they've been aware all this time, I could cry, all this time, of what's going on around them, and unable to express it. So yeah, I think that's our biggest goal, is to get a trainer educated, so that we can begin helping families in this state, and just changing the lives of families through this program.
It's called Spelling to Communicate, but it is a free movie on YouTube you can watch now.
Okay. Well, before we get to talk more about your fundraiser this weekend, Amy, is there anything else that you want to say about Reform Pharma?
Well, Reform Pharma, the focus was Tennessee this year, and I just want to say we put a lot of effort and time and into trying to educate legislators and support bills. We gave testimony on record, and one of the things that we're doing is we're also calling out the different agencies that are the nonprofit agencies that are basically a lobbying arm of pharma. And that's like the Academy of Pediatrics, the American Medical Association, which is TMA, Tennessee Medical Association in the state, and then even including the CDC. It's time for them to be held accountable, and we are calling them out for different things that they are doing, such as pushing for minor consent, vaccinating children without parental consent. They are for that. They support that. They also support with taking away exemptions that are non-medical. And so that's not what the parents want in Tennessee. So we need to expose that. Also with their contracts. I mean, the contracts with the state are very alarming. And I'll talk a little bit more about that at our fundraiser, but I think there's definitely things that we're going to be exposing soon. So stay up to date on our website, reformpharmanow.org.
Okay. Were y'all able to get any legislation through this year?
Well, we had pushed for, there was one that removed the CDC and the AAP from a certain section of code that mandated actually vaccination recommendation. It mandated the parent to take the recommendations of those two organizations, and that mandate was removed. And then I'm not really sure. I don't have the final story yet, but something happened really weird, because it was passing very well through the committees, and then all of a sudden it got double referred at the end, and I don't have the final end story of that, so that was a little fishy. I have to say this session was, I mean, it's usually dark, but there was a lot of, game playing and politics, and between the voucher bill, which we didn't have, any say in that, but between all of that stuff going on, it was really a hot year this year. Yeah. So as far as we did have successes of supporting coercion bills, and you can't coercion. We're not for coercion. We're for the anti-coercion part, but that one passed today, and we did have influence with the Family Rights and Responsibilities, and there's several bills that were out there, but a couple of them they got played kind of funny. And one of our biggest platforms is the psychiatric drugs as well, and they come with a black box warning label that says suicidal and homicidal ideation, along with aggression and addiction. And those are the problems that the legislation, they were all mental health legislation bills, I feel like, that we're pushing for giving children more of that when we're not even looking at the data. That's a huge, huge problem.
Right. And we want mental health experts, so-called, in every school. It seems to be what they're pushing for. So
Or some
I'm
do.
concerned about that.
Right, right. We need to let the teachers teach.
Right, right.
Yeah, and if I could add here, now this show here, I'm volunteering for CHD, and this is all about CHD. But as you said in my, you described me here, I am the Tennessee director of Stand for Health Freedom. So I would just like to encourage your viewers to, if you live in Tennessee, sign up for free at standforhealthfreedom.com. So when Amy is, as Reform Pharma has got some good legislation going forward, or even if I'm doing things with my hat off kind of thing, but when there's good bills related to health freedom and parental rights, Stand for Health Freedom will be notifying you if you're signed up. So I do encourage folks to sign up for that. So that's all I'll say about that hat. I'll take that one back off and I'll put on my CHD hat again. Okay. There's all us mama bears. We do triple, quadruple duty. It's so important to protect the children. And so important to support Children's Health Defense and the great work, because it was one of the first organizations that really stood up and took the slings and arrows to speak the truth. And it has grown exponentially, and we are so excited.
Well, I'm glad you guys are doing what you're doing and letting everybody know what's going on, because we definitely can't trust any level of government that tell us the truth. So let's talk about some of the speakers that you're going to have at your fundraiser this weekend.
Awesome. I'll go ahead and start. Well, we've got Amy Miller of Reform Pharma. So if you want to know more about Reform Pharma, please come. She'll be able to talk during the event, and she'll be presenting at the event. And then also from Children's Health Defense is Rolf Hazelhurst. But Amy, you describe Rolf, because you work very closely with Rolf. So you take that.
I do. Rolf and I, we've been friends for a while, and his story captured my eye when I first heard about. He's an autism dad, and he is actually a senior attorney, staff attorney at Children's Health Defense, and he just filed a lawsuit against the HHS and Department of Justice for fraud, and it was fraud upon the courts, and it's a very big deal. And so we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about vaccine fraud and pharma corruption during our segment. And he will explain the lawsuit a little bit better, but the evidence that is there is pretty phenomenal. And it's been a long time coming. He's been fighting this for 20 years, but I'll let him explain more of what we're going to do. But he'll be talking about his lawsuit that he just filed.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Amy. And then, and we've got Brad Miller, who's with the military chapter of Children's Health Defense. So he actually, okay, I got to make sure I use the right word. He was relieved of battalion command for refusing to go along with the COVID-19 injection mandate. And he subsequently resigned. So he is an amazing hero in all of our eyes. And he's one of the lead organizers of something called the Declaration of Military Accountability, where a growing number of military members, former and current, have signed on to say that they're basically going to reform the military in regards to informed consent and mandated experimental products, and so much else that's going on that is really harming the health of our military, as well as violating their rights. So he's going to be there speaking. Let's see, we've got Catherine Austin Fitz, who, what would be a CHD Tennessee event without the wonderful Catherine Austin Fitz? Mm-hmm. So she is the financial expert who guides everybody, and she speaks at the average everyday man a level that you can really understand how to protect your financial freedom. And she'll talk about what she's doing at the state level, helping encourage the state of Tennessee move toward our own financial sovereignty and independence. Let's see, we've got Danielle Goodrich, who is the Tennessee Stands Tri-Cities Coalition leader. She'll be talking about all the great work that she does. She's another Mama Bear activist. Dr. Denise Sibley, who we talked about earlier, she's going to be there. She's amazing with all the work that she has done, all the patients she's treated for COVID and COVID vaccine injury. Elizabeth Stewart of Crossing Creeks Farm, and Janelle Anderson of who's a homestead mentor, and Kevin Kraus of Liberty Trees Farms. So we've got those people, and so many people in our movement now really understand how important it is to feed ourselves and to get back to real food, regenerative farming. And so if anybody's interested in learning how it's done, we're going to have these 3 great individuals right there presenting and available to talk to you.
If I can jump in really quickly,
Oh,
Kevin
yes.
Strauss, my husband and I took a tour of his farm, and so he will give tours of his farm and how he rotates his cows versus the conventional manner, and it's phenomenal. I encourage people to really connect with him. While his neighbor has brown grass, he has bright green grass in the middle of winter. So it's phenomenal the things that you learn. But he'll take you and walk you around, and he'll even feed you a burger from fresh off the farm.
Oh my goodness, that's worth visiting, isn't it? Just to get the
Yes.
burger. And then Ryan Christian of The Last American Vagabond is going to be there doing a little emceeing for us. Theron Hutton, MD of Mulberry Clinic, will be there
He
talking
has
about.
spoken out a ton too. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh,
Dr.
no, that's
Theron,
okay.
Theron Hutton, he has really spoken out and stood firm for a while before it was popular. So he's one of the physicians that he's not afraid to stand.
Not afraid to stand, a functional medicine doc. And I love where functional medicine is going. That and chiropractors. I'm a big chiropractic fan. Zen Honeycutt. So I think, a lot of people know about Zen Honeycutt of Moms Across America. She's got a book called Unstoppable. She is like one of the main forces behind reducing the amount of Roundup available on the market and reducing where it's used. And she is unstoppable. She just keeps going. And her organization has done testing of food, fast food, school lunches for toxic ingredients. And all of that's available on our website. So you're going to want to meet her and hear the great work she's doing. So you can see how Children's Health Defense, through this network of these amazing people, really tries to bring this education to the people so that people can apply it in their lives. And the ripple effect of that is just astounding. There's some entertainers. We've got Michelle Nicolo Prentice and also Sean Galloway will be there performing, singer-songwriters. And in particular, Sean Galloway has a song called Hands Off Our Children. And that's the theme of our fundraiser, Hands Off Our Children. And it's a wonderful song. We've got some T-shirts that that have a saying from hands off our children, have hands off their minds, hands off their bodies. There might be more. I can't remember the rest of it, but it's a great song.
And I think we have a slide that gives the details of the tickets, location, time, and everything. Anything else you want to add to that or say about it?
Well, I'll just repeat that it's at the April 27th, starting 5 to 9:30, and there's 2 tiers of tickets. There's one price will get you general admission. I think there's some hors d'oeuvres. I think that they're going to have, forgive me. Do you remember me, Amy? The food will be available for the general admission tickets for purchase, organic, healthy food. And then there's some VIP tickets that get you, includes a meal from Urban Market. All organic meal, and you get to arrive a little early and mingle with the speakers, so you get an extra time there, and you get priority seating. So the April 27th, 5 to 9, go to the website tn.childrenshealthdefense.org, look for the events tab or the banner on there for events, and it's in Columbia, Tennessee.
It is. It's at where they host the Homestead Festival, the big Homestead Festival at Rory Feeks Farm. So it's a great location, and it's only a couple days away. So get your tickets now.
Yes.
Okay. Well, do you have anything else that you want to bring up? Anything else you want to tell the audience about?
I think I'm good for now.
Yeah, I think I'm good for now, and just encourage everybody to keep learning, live your truth one choice at a time, and believe that we can really make the changes we need for our children.
and we'll put the website back up again so everybody can see it. And I want to thank you both for coming on and for all you do. I hope your fundraiser goes well. Take care.
Thank you.
Have a great night. And, I want one little reminder here for everybody, and you guys are obviously doing it. If you're not instructing your state legislators on important issues, they are still being instructed by feckless state leaders, the Chamber of Commerce, numerous lobbyists, and other well-heeled scum that roam the halls of the Capitol. So just keep that in mind. I want to thank you guys for coming on tonight. Appreciate what you do. I want to thank everybody for taking time to watch the program. Please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button as well as the notification bell. The Tennessee Informer is also available to listen to as an audio podcast on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, and other popular podcast platforms. Just do a search for the Tennessee Informer and you'll find all of our shows, or you can find them on our website, TennesseeInformer.com. While you're there, please take a moment to sign up for our weekly newsletter. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. Just search for @TennesseeInformer. Share us with your friends. Next Monday on the Tennessee Informer Special Edition, our guest is Sarah Maccabee, the wife of Ronald Maccabee, a former police officer in Williamson County, now a J6 prisoner. She'll be here to talk about the political overreach and lies that resulted in his incarceration, as well as being a voice for the voiceless. And then on our regular time, Tuesday at 7 p.m., we welcome retired FBI agent David J. Baldeman to talk about the ordinary FBI agents have to follow unlawful orders or not, and they actually do have a choice. Hope you'll join us. That's it for now. Good night from Paris, Tennessee, that is.